Hello, hi friends. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend and I hope you have a gentle start to the week. Hopefully, it's not too busy right off the bat. Hopefully, you have some time to sort of, just dive into the week and, set up the week for what you need to get done, come off of whatever you were doing this weekend. Hopefully, you had some time to relax. Hopefully, you had some time to yourself. Maybe time to play with stationery, which is always a good thing. But yes, welcome to the stream. Welcome to Monday. I hope the weather's okay where you are. It's a little rainy here in the Vancouver area, but that's okay. We're just gonna, at least it's not super cold. So I'm just going to stay indoors, get some things done, get this week started. But yeah, let me know what you've been up to. Let me know what you were, if you did anything exciting over the weekend or last week, and how you're doing, friends. Today and all Mondays, we're just going to do a chill journaling and drawing stream. It's not going to be super intense. So if you just want to sort of have me on in the background, I'll chat through what I'm doing and how I sort of do journaling and some drawing in my planner. And yeah, we'll just kind of hang out. If you have questions or you just want to chat, feel free. Feel free. It's kind of a casual, chatty kind of Monday stream. So not too much going on. But hi, Inky. How's it going? We're finally going to get a bit above freezing. Wow, that's awesome. I'm happy for you because it's been a run of cold weather. Hosted a Winter Olympic themed birthday party. Oh, yay, a 7-year-old. That's awesome. I have two 7-year-olds. It's fun. But that's so cool. Winter Olympic themed birthday party. What's your favorite Olympic sport to watch? Or do you just kind of like watching all of them? Because, yes, happy Olympics. Last week was the opening ceremony and sort of the start of the events, some medals, lots of interesting events to watch. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. So, yeah, I can, hop on to watching events whenever I can, have them on in the background when I can. My kids love it. The winter sports are really fun. We're hitting 67 degrees Fahrenheit today. What is that in Celsius, Omaha Dad? Is that good? It sounds pretty high. I like dabbling in everything. Yeah, I do too, Inky. I agree. I like everything. Hockey is my fave. Women's and men's, I feel like we have a great team. So, or great two teams. Yeah, some really fun sports. Curling, as as boring as it could be to some people, I find it's actually kind of like, you get yourself caught up in the moment of these sports, and these athletes are next level, right? So it's hard not to cheer on people who are at this level, competing and just doing what they love. Speaking of, doing what we love, like we all kind of find our passion. And they are at the highest level. So it's you kind of have to get caught up in the moment and cheer for everyone and hope they do their best and hope they do well. And so, yeah, and it's always tough when someone goes down or there's accidents or things happen at the Olympic stage because, it's a big deal. So I feel for them all. But yeah, I like watching. You know what event surprised me at how invested I got in? Was luge. I was watching the single event on Saturday, I think it was, and I knew nothing about luge. I knew nothing about the sport. But the commentators did a really good job explaining, how technical it is and the different strategies and different ways that you can, or how the athletes are kind of controlling their sled. And it just blew my mind how intense it can be. So I got kind of obsessed and watched the whole thing and learned a lot about a sport I knew nothing about before. And that's kind of the beauty of the games, I think. Including skating. I loved watching figure skating. That was really, really fun. The artistry and creativity that goes into some of those routines is like blows my mind. So watching the Seahawks win last night, hi Sandy, makes the weather in Seattle easier to endure. Yeah, I hear you, Sandy. I was happy to see that win as well, even though I'm not a big American football fan, but I spent a lot of my life, most of my life actually, in Toronto, and watched a few Buffalo Bills games in person. So my husband likes to watch the Super Bowl. I like to watch halftime show. So if anyone else caught the Bunny show, the Bad Bunny show, and Green Day opening was like super nostalgic for me. It was a time. I'll tell you that. It was a time. Very impressed. Olympics are the only sports our family likes to spectate. Yeah. That's so easy to watch, right? Like it's kind of fun to have on. My wife was a figure skater. Oh, that's awesome, Mark. Yeah, figure skating. I'm so impressed. You know what? With all the sports that I watched, all the skiing events, all of the sports, I can't do any of them. I was just like, they're either hurtling down a mountain, they're just throwing themselves off a cliff, or they have knives on their feet and they're just cutting up the ice. It's so intense and extreme that for me, I'm just like, where's the safety? Like, for me anyways, like obviously they're being safe in their own way, but for me, I'm just like, I just want to go really slow. I just want to take my time skating on the ice. So, yeah, color me impressed for sure. Most boring game ever. Halftime show was fantastic. Totally agree. Yeah. I didn't even know who was playing. Look, Mark, I'm kind of the same way, except that I did know that the Seahawks were playing because it stood out like as a, what? I was surprised, and yeah, go Seattle, because I've been there and it's just like Vancouver, where it's just, rainy, and it is similar. So I felt a connection there. I'll take it. I have this guys to prove how dangerous figure skating is. Sandy, I believe you. In school we did skating, and my kids are doing it as well. They go on school field trips to the skating rink, and so I learned a little bit of skating. I never took it, further than just like doing it as a hobby kind of thing. But I know, like, as soon as you step up your speed and you twirling and doing this and that, it's kind of like you got to just go with it, right? Like, hope you don't fall or scratch up or scars is right. We're watching figure skating, and I guess made a noise. A flip with yeah, with knives on their feet. Yeah, a backflip. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? Yeah, your dog jumped up and was like, whoa. But did you see the backflip? Yeah, super, super cool. And the when they do like the singles, but also doubles, and watching the choreography of, everything has to be so precise. And I'm just like, oh man, the slightest mistakes that they make, even at that level, is like, you kind of feel that nervous, hoping that nothing happens, hoping that they can recover, and that, their points don't, like, not a lot of points get deducted. Like, I just get so invested in, each of these athletes, like, for how long they train for, and like, this is their moment to shine. I just want them to shine. I just hope that they all do really well. So the moment the backflip happened, my tween became a rabid fan of this. Yeah. Yes, that backflip was amazing, intense. I don't even know how that's possible to do on ice, because like, just imagining trying to do that, I can't even do it in real life, like on solid ground, much less trying to figure out how someone does that on ice. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I hope if you are watching the Olympics, or if you got your fill of the Super Bowl or other things, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a good time. There's more Olympics to come, so I'm just like, I like having it on in the background and watching the different sports and kind of getting invested in the intensity of it all, I think. Knowing that I could never do something like that. So anyways, I am going to do some journaling and some drawing in my Hemlock and Oak weekly and daily Undated planner. If this is your first time catching one of my Monday streams where I do some journaling in my planner and memory keeping as well. So that's a planner that I'm using. It is an undated planner, and the paper is 70 GSM archivist paper. It was specially formulated for Hemlock and Oak, their Canadian company. They also gifted me this planner very kindly to test out the paper and try it out and kind of put it through its paces. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying to use it for in the different ways that I like sort of using a memory keeper or a creative journal anyways. And so that's what I kind of like doing on a Monday, is looking back at the previous week, filling in some of my time blocks with, if the events and appointments that I planned actually happened, and they were kind of the highlight of the week. I like to add a little bit more detail, and then just decorate, right, with like washi, stickers, accessories that a lot of us tend to accumulate in this hobby. And it's a nice way of kind of using that stuff. So that's my encouragement to use. Dig out your stickers and your washi while you're watching the Olympics maybe, and journal about it, or write about your week, or write about what you're kind of up to and doing, highlights that stand out for you in a day or in a week. Reflect on it and kind of, enjoy those moments and document them. And then we're going to do a little bit of drawing. So I'll show you how I'm using the daily section, which is just, a page per day. And I'm using that for drawing flowers from reference photos. It's just my kind of practice and reminder to keep drawing, especially looking at reference photos is a great way to practice the lines, the shapes that I see in nature. And yeah, it's kind of a good practice for me. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you are going to just kind of hang out and watch, or do whatever you kind of need to do as well. So feel free to chat and ask questions if you kind of see something I'm doing and you're not sure what's happening or what I'm using. More than happy to share about it. So this is what we did last Monday. Oh, here's a little update from me. One of my kids was really sick this weekend. She had a fever and coughing and sniffling and stuff. So I wasn't sure if I was going to stream today. And then last week also, I got confused with the weeks, and I thought that this Monday or today was going to be a holiday. It's not. It's next Monday. So I may not stream next Monday, but we'll kind of take it as it is and go from there. But so that's kind of my thing. The other thing was last Monday, we set up the week for this week. So how I kind of do that in a memory keeping type of way is I time block my schedule and just kind of put a header or, what that event is going to be. And then the following week I come back. So that's today. I come back and I just do a little bit of memory keeping and reflecting on the week. So that's what I'm going to do first. Holiday, it's Family Day. It's called Family Day. And it's just a day for us to kind of spend with our family. It breaks it up in February as well. So the kids actually have Friday off. So it's kind of an extra long weekend for us. So it's one of those like, it's not a massive celebration or anything like that. It's more of a quiet sort of day to spend with your family. So, I'm going to use a fountain pen to write in some of those details. So that's part of the testing the paper. Of course, we tested with fountain pens to see if it's fountain pen friendly. And so far I found this paper handles fountain pens really, really well. I haven't had any issues with bleed through, like minor ghosting on using like stamp pads or things that are very saturated, so saturated inks. But really enjoy using a fountain pen in this book. So the one I'm using is a Leonardo Momento Zero. And the nib is a reverse architect. So when I'm writing on the correct side, it's kind of like a fine line. But on the reverse, when I flip over the pen and write with the nib side down, it's an architect. So it's a broad line across and a thinner line vertically. Love that we have presidency here, which I'm pretty sure is just that we will need a day off in February. Yeah, don't we all kind of need a day though? I feel like it's such a long stretch between the holidays, like in December, and then you celebrate New Year's, and then all of a sudden it's just like you're in winter, it gets cold. Maybe you have some snow and ice and just kind of crappy weather. And then it's like the next thing is kind of Valentine's Day, which, you know, like you may or may not celebrate it or do anything for it. And then, yeah, it's kind of like little things here and there, but it's not, there's nothing that's kind of like, you know, nothing to, I don't know, to kind of stand out, I think. So it's kind of nice when you have a holiday or you have a day off and, you know, just to kind of relax and take a moment. I think the holidays kind of just exhaust us in a way that you have to come back from it. And the ink that I have in this fountain pen is a very nice standard ink. It's Gerabon Lidate, which is like a really, really nice brown. I really enjoy that. So and then on Wednesday we have a Twitch stream. So I try and stream on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays kind of being that journaling, art, drawing kind of stream. And then Wednesdays I do a little bit more fountain pen related stuff. You know, whether it's currently inked or painting with fountain pen inks. And so that's what I did last week. I had some fountain pen ink samples that I really wanted to paint with because they kind of just sit there, and I don't always use them to ink up my pens, especially if they're like lighter shades or muted colors or you know, colors that, or like really bright ones, which I don't tend to ink up in my pens. So I kind of set them aside to paint with. And so that's what I did last week, and it was like very cherry blossom vibe, light pink, and beige, you know, gentle colors. So that was really, really fun. If you ever do miss any of my streams and you really just want to have something in the background where we're doing like art, journaling, painting, and hanging out, my VODs are on Twitch, and I also upload the replays on YouTube. So you can always check it out on YouTube. I'm also from Corolla. And I also have tutorials and other things, videos on how I use my stationery. So if that interests you, take a look at that as well. So on Friday were that was the start of the Olympics, or at least the opening ceremony. So that was, that kind of took over the weekend, I think, for me at least. And then Sunday, of course, was the Super Bowl. So I think instead of writing them in, I'm going to use a stamp. This one that says "Note to Self." Just things that kind of stood out in the week. Maybe not personal appointments or things I planned, but also things that happened and took up my time. Opening ceremony. Okay, those are just some things that also happened. And then I'm just gonna add some washi tape, some stickers, because I have them. I have a lot. I have a lot. It's a great way of using them up. Spicy Miso, how's it going? Hello. Happy Monday. How are you? How was your weekend? Did you watch any event-related things? Are you into Olympics? Are you into Super Bowl? Are you into anything else that kind of... Or did you just have a low-key kind of weekend? Let's see. I'm going to put some more... Maybe some flowers. And this bird. You're one of those people that don't care about the Olympics. That's cool. It is all good. I will for sure tune into some more events today. Just whatever's kind of on. I like watching, whatever's on, just getting kind of in the mood of it and caught up in the vibes of like everyone's cheering, everyone's kind of doing their thing, but I will definitely be tuning into hockey. That's an important one. Yeah, pretty much anything else kind of that I like. Let's go put So the purpose of this spread, this weekly spread, is just to document things that happened in terms of planning during the week. So it's not so much, everything that happened, highlights, that kind of stuff, that kind of memory keeping. It's more so for me to document that things happened, that I planned things, appointments and schedules, stuff like that. So in terms of memory keeping, it's pretty minimal because in this view, especially because it's vertical planning, so there isn't a lot of space in a column to add like all the things that happened in my day. And so I'm fine with that. I kind of just like looking at my schedule, looking back at my schedule anyways, and seeing, things happened, we did things, and that kind of stuff. So plans, schedules, events, stuff like that. So I like that it's very minimal and not too busy in terms of back planning or updating your plans. So the other thing you can do is do some doodling to kind of fill up space too. So I like doing that. Especially if you're writing in the column and then sometimes there's these awkward sort of spaces depending on if you want to continue writing or if you just want to go down a line. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this looks weird. So you can fill up space by doodling and just drawing little hearts and circles and things like that. Hi, Archeo Pen. How's it going? How's your weekend? Yeah, I mean, it's hype to watch all the cheers and vibes. I can't deny that. But if you're not into winter sports, it's totally fine, right? It is what it is. Not everyone is into the Olympics. Not everyone is into winter sports and watching it. And it is totally... I mean, it is a timely thing, right? You can sit there and watch sport after sport, event after event. And not everyone wants to make that kind of time investment. And that is okay. Yeah, the ski event. Too short. Archeo, I hear you. Too short. Isn't it always like so much happens and we have to kind of get things done and be places and see things, and then it goes by and all of a sudden you're on Monday again. You're like, it's another stream. I'm streaming again. How did that happen? Honestly, it's been like a couple days since I saw you last, I think. Okay, so I'm going to set up this week in a blank spread because it's undated, so I have to date it, which is totally fine. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this week just the shell of it, and time block my schedule as I have it planned. And then next week I'll come back and then I'll update it with little details here and there. So this is a way for me to use my supplies too, especially brush pens and fine liners. So my go-to brush pen for doing headers and just anything a little bit more fancy than just writing is the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen. Easy to control, especially if you don't do brush lettering or hand lettering daily or regularly. It's kind of an easy one to use, especially for, you know, if you're just doing a simple header. Okay, so today is the 9th. And we are into mid-February. So I don't know about you, but for me, January was super, super slow. It just kept going and going and going. And I feel like February is catching up. It's feels like a little bit faster. And maybe it's because a lot more things are happening. But I just feel like there's so much to kind of like stay on top of. So we're already into mid-February by the end of the week. And yeah. And Spicy is streaking. That's awesome. I love watching rugby, whether men or women. Yeah, I can't seem to. Rugby is aggressive. It is aggressive. Oh, it's Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip. So it's a foodie. This also comes, or you can also get this in a soft tip. So this is called the hard tip. Let me see where my soft tip is. No, that's blue. There's also the hard tip. So if you get it in a package of 2, the hard tip is like a dark blue navy color. And then the soft tip is a gray color. It's like a gray color. And it just means that the hard tip has a slightly finer tip, but also it's a little bit harder. That's why it's called the hard tip. And so you'll get a wider brush stroke with a soft tip because it's softer, and so you're able to sort of push it down more on the paper. And then you'll get a slightly thinner line with your hard tip. And so that's why I say the hard tip, this one is easier to control, especially if you're kind of starting or you're, you do hand lettering once in a while. It's easier to control. The brush doesn't just go everywhere. The soft tip, you can get a wider line, but you have to control it a little bit more. It's sort of up to you. Otherwise, your lines will just look inconsistent, or they won't look sort of that consistent width. So, yeah, no worries. I've seen clips on women playing rugby. Yeah. Oh, yes, I know. Women's rugby and other women's sports can be more brutal. My husband is a Kiwi, and so rugby is huge in New Zealand, and yeah, so I know the sport can be pretty brutal. Scars to prove it. Not me, but scars in general on rugby players to prove it. I have never tried playing rugby. It's way too brutal for me. It's too aggressive. I like the gentler sports. Okay, so I've dated it. I am going to use Tombow dual brush pens to time block my schedule. So if you're into visual colors and seeing things sort of visually and colorful and vibrant in your planners or your memory keepers or your journals, Tombow dual brush pens are a great way of time blocking and also kind of highlighting things. Similar to, if you're going to just kind of glance at your schedule and see something, you can write, work or school across your schedule, or you can just use a color to denote something. So I have my key of what each color represents or denotes. And so if I glance at my schedule and it's just color, then I can kind of quickly pinpoint what it is or who it involves. And so that's kind of the idea of time blocking for me. It's also a great way, like when I time block school, because that kind of dictates what I can get done in a day, as if my kids are in school or not. So if they do have the day off, then I just don't time block that. So Friday they're out of school. So obviously my schedule for that day will kind of revolve around getting things done with them. So that's fine. But it's kind of nice to see it in a colorful way. And so they have yoga today. And we also have we're streaming today and Wednesday. Oh, and Saturday's Valentine's Day. Lots kind of happening. What's wrong with that? Hi, Paw Pal Gal. Oh, good, we're still going. Yes. I started my, I did my weekly memory keeping spread. Just looking at things that happened. And then I'm doing my time blocking for this week. So just looking at my schedule and how busy it's going to be. Just things that are going on. But how was your weekend, friend? How are you doing? I have a friend that used to play rugby. Oh boy, it was brutal. Yeah, I can imagine. Watching your friend play is like, oof. Take care of yourself. Ice hockey is brutal as well. I feel like they have more protection maybe, but it does not mean they don't lose teeth. They do, and it's like it can be pretty aggressive too. There's lots of pushing and tackling and stuff. Yeah. Yes, you're still dancing. Wasn't it a vibe? It was so good. It was such a great time. It was so good to watch. I loved it. Still dancing, still sort of vibing. So, all right, I have my time blocks. And I think I have, let's see. I'm going to just write in things, headers, with my fountain pen. Ooh, and also use a stamp. So I like this really cute cat stamp. You saw the clips, yeah. High-speed tackling must hurt so much. Oh, for sure. For sure. Let's not forget the knives that hockey players wear on their feet. Like those skates, if they come anywhere near you, I would be so scared. But I feel like it's sort of a rite of passage for hockey players to lose some teeth in fights on the ice. You know, and it's a team thing, and they look out for each other, and you know, so Sometimes they even have heated rivalries. Yes. Love it. Heated rivalry. The pride of Canada right now. Remember a few years ago, a hockey player passed from a skate hitting his neck. You know what? That sounds familiar. Yeah, I think I do remember that. And yeah, it's tough. You never want that happening, of course, but... Hi, Geez, how's it going? I did enjoy it. Did you? Bad Bunny Bowl was so good. I did enjoy it. I hope you had a good weekend as well. You finally started Heated Rivalry? Yeah, look, confession time, I'm only on episode 4. I think there's 6, right? I'm only on episode 4. I have seen clips and like highlights and stuff of the show, but you know, I'm taking my time with it. I do know all about the fleece, and there was a whole social movement with Canadians and everyone in the world, basically, demanding that they release the fleece, the Canadian fleece jacket that was Shane wore to the Olympic event. And so they wanted the Canadian uniform or, you know, gear to match that, which it doesn't. But so yeah, you know, lots of good things coming out of that show, I think. The Bonito Bowl. I love it. Yeah, you're now on 2. Yeah. So good. So good. So much fun. Are you into the Olympics as well, Geez, or are you catching any of that? I am as it's on. If I can catch something live, I'm more likely to watch it and really enjoy it. Just because it's live. I don't know. It's just the environment, the atmosphere of it, I guess. But I will definitely be catching the hockey games, and just anything where it's kind of like, you know, it stands out, and I just want to... And it's also, you know, something to document and write about in your journal, right? Where you're watching the team or the athletes that you're rooting for, and watching how they sort of compete and how they perform. It's interesting and exciting and something to journal about, something that's happening that, you know, you might be able to get behind and enjoy. So... I'm rooting in my washi, like these are samples and also just like tapes that I've cut up. This is kind of fun. And I'm just going to add a few random ones here just to take up some space. It's also kind of nice to go through like the different tapes that you stockpile sometimes. Because what else are you going to use them for, right? Yeah, let's do some of these cute ones. This one says, life is short, love yourself more. I like that. I think this is a tape from Pion. Let's add that here. We got some fish. I watched a bit of the figure skating yesterday. Yeah, figure skating was interesting. It was competitive. Like, it was super competitive. I felt for them all too, like, you know, just how much work goes into it, how much dedication. And then it just comes down to, you know, performance and points, and whether or not you make mistakes and things like that. It can be brutal in ways where it's just disappointing, you know, and high emotions and stuff. And you got your one chance. So there was an athlete that fell during skiing. Yeah. Lindsey Vonn. That was pretty tough. She was already injured, or she was or recovering from an injury, pre-existing injury. And so, yeah, that was a pretty brutal fall. I'm trying to take my time with it as well. I want to enjoy it. Yes, I know. I am definitely enjoying it. This is such a good watch. I got a silhouette portrait 3, and I'm going home and try to figure it out how to use it today. Good luck, Mark. I'm excited. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely enjoy it, and definitely use it. Right. That's why we have these types of machines. Like, use it. Print out stickers, cut them out. Throw it on your journals and other places. Yeah, it was hard to watch. Torn ACL. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, torn ACL. I don't know. I haven't heard any updates. If you have, let me know. But I haven't heard any updates. I hope she's okay. You know what? Also, I was watching the men's single luge event, and I was mentioning that, like, I got super invested in this sport that, like, or event that I just didn't know anything about beforehand. But one of the things that the commentators mentioned was just, you know, how precise they have to be when they're, like, tearing down, you know, the track. And if just for a second, their arm touches the side of the ice, how much that hurts, just kind of comparing to, like, sandpaper on your arm. And I thought, you know what? That is so true. I have fallen on ice. And if you're going at any kind of speed, it hurts, because ice is not forgiving and it's not soft. And so you can just imagine at the speeds that they're going, and just glancing off the side of the ice, how much that itself would hurt. So I'm just, you know, high speed friction. Oh, it's tough. It's tough just to imagine, like, you know, any small injury, much less the huge fall that Lindsay had. It's, yeah, you feel for them for sure. You know, you don't want that to happen. Not at that level, not at that speed, not with so much riding on them, being able to perform or being able to complete their event, right? So, yeah, it is tough. All right, so I am done setting up my weekly. Very simple, very minimal. This is kind of what I have planned. So I think we'll go with that. I think I'm good with that too. Some stamping, some highlighting. So we'll put that here, actually. I've tabbed it off. Yeah. Olympians go extreme for the medals, right? It's this is everything. This is everything to them. They've been training forever to get to this level of competition. So getting injured is just one of those, like, they are willing to take that risk, to some degree anyways, when they're pushing themselves that hard. You are not one, so you can't speak for them. I am not an athlete as well, but I feel like just watching all these events, I feel like I know something, but I don't. I would never push myself to the, yeah, I mean, that level of dedication to something is, you know, yeah, it's a big ask. It's a big ask. And I will stick to my stationery hobby. I'll push myself when it comes to crafting and creating art. But yeah, physical exertion is, yeah, huge respect, right? It's such a huge time commitment. It demands so much of you physically, mentally, emotionally, and of their families too. Everyone who supports them and gets them to the level of competition that they're at. Let's see. I'm going to do some drawing now, and I actually picked out what I wanted to draw. So let's see. So I'm going to give this a go. Just because I like to kind of like to change up the kinds of flowers I'm drawing as well. Just to keep it interesting and challenging as well, because if I fall into feeling comfortable drawing certain shapes or lines, then I know I need to change it up, because it's the place of feeling uncomfortable or like, am I doing this right? That's what helps you sort of grow in your practice, because the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel, the more confident you feel. And so anytime I feel less confident about drawing a certain flower or a certain design or shape, that's where I know I need to lean in a little bit more and practice that, so I can get to a level of feeling confident about drawing that. And then the other thing is I like to pick different colors. So the book I'm using for reference is called Flower Color Guide. It's by Taylor and Michael Putnam. It's a great sort of coffee table book where, you know, you can just flip through it at any time and get inspiration if you're into flowers or botanicals, different colors, different types of flowers that you'll probably never see in your life, but they're just so pretty to look at. And so I'm using this book this year. I've kind of committed to using this as a reference book to practice drawing flowers, looking at real photos, and just kind of trying to capture the lines that and shapes that I see on paper, and drawing them. And it doesn't have to be perfect, as if you've followed any of my art. It never has to be perfect. You just have to capture what you see onto paper in whatever form you feel comfortable and what comes to you. And this is, I believe, how we sort of, this is how we form our unique style. And this is how we make something uniquely ours. So if you're kind of thinking, you know, I would love to practice something like this, drawing reference, but I never do it correctly or it never looks the same as what I see, then that's totally fine. It doesn't have to look exactly like what you see. It just has to represent your take and your perspective and your style. So the more you do it, again, the more I feel like you'll feel comfortable and confident. And that's the goal of it. The goal is to feel confident drawing. And to get to that, it takes practice, and it takes just doing it over and over again until you get to that kind of level where you're just like, I'm just going to draw what I capture. Trust my hand to do it. And the more you do it, you do sort of evolve and build up your muscle memory when it comes to doing those lines. And so that's why line drawing is really important for me, so that the more I do it, the more comfortable I feel. And when I do it just, you know, in an abstract way, it helps me to relax in that moment and go with the flow and trust my hand, because it's pulling from doing this over and over again. It's pulling from that memory of drawing those shapes, drawing those lines. And over time, you know, I start to put my style into it, and it will never look exactly like this, because it's not a photo. I'm not drawing a photo. I'm drawing my representation of what I see. So that's my spiel on drawing from a reference photo. And I highly encourage that you do it. It's really fun. It's very relaxing, because you're just looking at something and you're kind of replicating it. So you don't have to use your imagination at all. You don't have to pull from anything that, you know, you might not have in your memory. But it is really fun. It is a nice way of practicing art, using your supplies, And also, if you have a journal or notebook where, you have blank pages, this is a great way of filling up that blank page. And over time, you can kind of flip through and see your evolution and how you've sort of come through the phases of, initially feeling uncomfortable drawing something, whether it's flowers, right? Or if it's architecture, you're into urban sketching or food, or portraits, anything like that. Grab a book, grab a reference book, or look up, on Pinterest or online, look up photos, things that kind of speak to you, that draw you in, and then try and grab a pencil or pen and just try and capture that onto paper. It's really fun and interesting. Paper cuts really hurt. Sandy, that's the worst injury that is unnecessary. Why is it such a big deal, right? Paper cuts are the worst. I'm always careful with new books and things. You get a fresh sort of block of printer paper or something. It's just don't get a paper cut. So dramatic. Speaking about women, the current book I'm reading, one of the main characters is a Viking mom. Oh, awesome. I can tell you I don't want to piss her off. Yes, you don't want to. No. A Viking mom has seen things. Didn't know anything about the book. The cover got me. Ooh, interesting. Oh, yeah, awesome. Let's see if... Yeah. I mean, you throw a dragon on the cover, that's pretty hard to say no to, especially if you're into, if you're into dragons and stuff. Anything to do with that kind of theme, for sure. The book is awesome. Happy about the purchase. That's awesome. I'll keep this on here just so I can take a look at it later. The next two books is a mythical dog and huge serpent. Super, super cool. Stationery injuries. You know what? Yeah, that's stationery injuries. Or if you, if you poke yourself with a super sharp nib, you have an ultra extra fine or a needle point or something and accidentally poke yourself. That hurts. Or if you're cutting washi tape and you've got your scissors, and I mean, look, the things we go through sometimes in our line of hobby. My 7-year-old is getting only dragon themed presents from her grandparents and aunts. That is so cool. I love it. Dragons are so cool. Okay, so what I'm using in terms of supplies, I'm using a Tombow blending palette with the dual brush pens. And I like this because you can sort of transfer color onto it and then just wipe it off or wash it off with water and it's gone. You can use any kind of laminated sheet anyways for this type of thing. But I do like that it has a reference chart of all their markers. So I can pick out some colors that I think will sort of represent the flowers and the stems and leaves that I see. And so I've kind of gone with these 4, which I think are more fall themed, but we're going to go with it. So what I do is I add some color to the blending palette. And the reason why I'm doing this, or doing it this way, and you'll see what my process is because I like the effect that you can get. I like that you can get a watercolor effect using dual brush pens, or any kind of brush marker that's water-based. And I like that you can use a paintbrush, or in my case, I'm going to use a colorless blender marker from Tombow. So what it is, it's just a brush marker similar to their dual brush pen, but it has no color. And so what you can do is use this as sort of like a paintbrush, pick up the color and then transfer it onto paper. And I like this process because even though there's a few extra steps, words are hard on Monday, then directly coloring on paper with a brush pen or marker. This sort of, there's a process to it, a few extra steps, but I like the effect that it gives you. And so it's a gentle sort of muted version of the colors that you could get directly from a marker. And, it's just another way of using up some of those supplies. Sometimes when you buy a set of dual brush pens or markers, you get this colorless blender in it. And so this is just like, what do you do with it, right? So here's one way. Here's one way you can use up a colorless blender. You can also do this using a paintbrush. You can get the same effect. But just make sure that if you do that, your paper can handle water. I think this type of paper will be able to handle a little bit of water, a little bit of paint, some fountain pen friendly paper as well. Like on TRP, you might be able to do that as well. So that's kind of just a fun practice if you have markers, water-based markers or dual brush pens. And, aside from using them for coloring or highlighting or, whatever else you might want to use a marker for, another way you can use them is to get this sort of paint effect. When you're drawing from reference or you're adding some color. So that's what I'm doing first, is I'm layering in just the shapes and the colors that I'm seeing. And then once I'm sort of done putting that together or putting that on paper, then I'm going to go and draw the details, the lines that I see using a fine liner. So I'm not going to do all of that using a marker. This is more so to give me some outlines and where those flowers are, and then also, build up some of that color. So the base color is sort of this yellow, and then I see a little bit of like orangey red. So I'm gonna layer that on top. And this is where it helps using something like this, like a blender pen or paintbrush, because you're not covering up that yellow, you're just kind of blending in another color, layering a little bit of color on top. It breaks it up and it emphasizes certain parts of your drawing. So I'm just adding a little bit on top. And again, you can do it directly with a marker, but I kind of like doing it this way. It's a softer blending. I think I'm just gonna do, maybe I'll do a little bud there. Squeaky, I know. Squeaky marker sounds, especially on this sheet when you're picking up markers or picking up colors. So the fun part is you can play around with blending and mixing colors too. If you like that or you find that fun, this is kind of a fun way to do that as well. So don't get her this book. Is this kind of a spicy series? I like it. Wow, all of the dragon things. That's awesome. Alcohol markers bleed through 100%. Yeah, I would not recommend using alcohol markers on anything but like marker paper. Also because they kind of smell too. So if you are using alcohol markers all the time, sort of as a regular thing, because they are vibrant, and they sort of make your colors pop. Great for like fashion drawing and things like that, where you're like, you have to sort of make things stand out and stuff. Or manga or cartoon, that kind of themes. But yeah, I would highly suggest or recommend marker paper, or like specific paper that can handle bleed through at that level, for sure. Teacher sounds. Hi Jack Toy, how's it going? How was your weekend? It's not exactly spicy, yeah, but it's not rainbow and sunshine either. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna draw a little bit of the green, the stems. I'm not going to draw all of this because it's very, in the reference, is very busy. I don't think I'm going to capture all of that just because I don't want it to look super busy in my drawing. I just wanted to get the essence of what I'm looking at. So I'll be selective in what I draw. So sometimes when you're drawing from a reference, it can be confusing. Whereas if you're looking at a photo, you know, it's precise and exact. So it's easier to kind of tell what you're looking at. But when you're drawing something or painting something, there's just like so many lines happening. It's hard to focus on like what I'm supposed to look at. So I like to keep it simple in that case. And adding in leaves where they might not be, but you know, you can take some embellishment, especially if it looks like there's white space, and you can sort of add a little bit in there. So it was very restful. Yay. Had lots of good eats. That's awesome. Did you also catch that Bunny Bowl or Olympics or anything that's sort of happening? I'm going to add a little bit of the center here. I think that's it. And then, after I get this color off, I'm going to take the markers, and just because, let's put that there. Just because the flower is like really, really yellow and my drawing is kind of muted, so what we can do is add a little bit of color to make that yellow stand out a little bit more. Not going to go over the whole thing because it's not the point. But I do want to highlight the fact that it's like really nice and yellow. So just adding a little bit of color, remembering that this is just the outline. I don't want to color it all in, but I do want to make sure that like I see that there's this vibrant color. And maybe a little bit of this orange red. It's really dark. Then I'm going to swatch the colors, just so I remember what colors I used. I like this palette. It's very, it's very like fall-like, which is not reflective of winter, and I like it. You're watching ice skating. Oh, awesome. Yeah. I think I have to catch up on a few events, rewatch a few things, especially if it's like medals. Super exciting. And then we have hockey coming up, so. All right, so now that I've drawn the outlines of the flowers that I see in this photo, I'm gonna go in with my ultra fine line, the finest line, fine liner from Tombow. It's a 005, and it is like very needle pointy, you can see. And I like using this like super fine line because it's just to give a little bit more detail, just a little bit. So I don't want it to take over or cover up the color that I've added, because that's, for me, is kind of the main point of the drawing, is to capture those colors and make it look kind of like a watercolor painting or something, very soft. And the last thing I want to do is put a thick black line in there. So here's where the outlines help, because then I kind of know what I want to draw here. And again, it doesn't have to be exact to the photo, but for me, this is kind of a nice way of being like, yeah, these are the petals. And I don't take too much time with this because I want it to kind of be a quick drawing. And essentially just draw what I see, so it is going to be imperfect, and that's totally fine. And I kind of draw these lines just so it doesn't look like they're flat petals. But that's kind of it. Yeah, your internet is back. Hi, Indy. That's awesome. Oh, thanks, Papa Gal. As imperfect as they are, they work out. They look pretty close to what I want it to look like. Not that they look pretty close to what I'm seeing, but I'm happy with how they turn out. And then also write what flower it is so that I remember. Butterfly ranunculus. Single orange. Because there can be different colors of the same type of flower. So that's interesting, but so there you go. Pretty nice. I like the colors. I like the palette. And so I'm good with that. I try and do this every day, but it's tough. It's, you know, you have to set aside time to do the art, to sit down and look at something and be in the frame of mind to want to do this. It's the same with painting or any other kind of art piece that you want to create. You kind of have to be in that frame of mind, and be open to, you know, creating something. And as much as I would love to say that I can do this every day, I know I can't. It's just, it is how it is. So when I can do it, it's really nice. And I always kind of feel this accomplished feeling of, you know, whatever I sort of get done today, at least I was able to practice art, trust my hand and my creativity to put something down on paper, you know, and move my practice forward. And so that's always a good feeling. So I got the Pilot Parallel from my friend Jonathan Butler stationery store the other day. It's so much fun. Oh, that's awesome. I don't have a Pilot Parallel. And yeah, I've always seen how fun it can be. I'd love to try it out. Yeah, Gothic lettering. I've seen that. Very vampire movie titles in red. Oh, use like writer's blood or something. Or bright red and have some fun with it for sure. Right. Yeah, super cool. And then because I have space around my drawings, what I've been doing is doing a little bit of journaling or writing based on a prompt. And for the prompts, I'm using the pivot year. And it's just, there's 365 days worth of passages or sort of writing pieces or written pieces. And for each day, each day that I'm doing this, I'm just taking a sentence or two of the passage and just transcribing it, and then writing down a couple of thoughts or things that come to mind. And so for this type of journaling or writing, you can use, you know, any kind of prompts. You don't have to use prompts at all, but if you're in you know, in that kind of space where it's tough to sometimes just write about things that are happening in your life, or write about, you know, you have to come up with an idea of what to write about. And in those cases, it sometimes helps to look up prompts or have something that sparks some thought in you, you know, whether or not you're kind of reflecting on life or things in general, or if you read or if you can ask a question and There's many ways of sort of writing from a prompt. And I think for me, the point is, this is not my like thought journal or a journal where I'm just reflecting on life. It's more so I wanted to kind of get out of thinking about things that are happening in my life and more so on my perspective of things. So I kind of like doing it this way as well, especially if you have, you know, those extra journals or space to write, to kind of do some creative writing or reflection. So I'm on day 81 in here. I did start this book a couple of years ago and then I just kind of dropped off and it sat on my shelf. And then this year I thought, you know what, this is a great way of using up the space. It's just to write a little bit of casual thoughts. And it doesn't take too much time either. That's the beauty of it. And you still use your supplies and you still get a little bit of time to yourself and still your reflection in some way. But again, another great way of using your fountain pens, especially if you don't use them for daily writing, like in your planner or in your notebooks. Finding spaces and times to use them can be tough sometimes, so you can also practice different styles of writing. Take your time and try different styles and different ways of using your nib. Or a parallel pen. I may have to get one of those parallel pens to play with. I know, Indy, I've had Pilot Parallel and the Sailor Hokuro on my list, on my wish list of like, I should buy this just to play with it. Dip pens and, you know, different kinds of nibs. Totally worth it. Oh, that's good to know. Comes with 2 cards, red and black. Oh, awesome. And then do you have to, does it use a Pilot cartridge or is it specific to the Parallel? Can you just refill those cartridges? I recently purchased one. Yeah. You haven't used it yet? You should definitely use it. Have some fun. No, I get it though. You know, you buy them because you're curious and it's like, I just have to find the time to sit down and spend some time with it for sure. No, I totally get it. But here's your encouragement to do it. So what I wrote of this somewhat long passage for today is maybe your life will be a lighthouse for the other aching hearts yearning to know that there is another way to walk through their years, that there's still hope amid it all. So I kind of like that part of this passage. It's just talking about the way we're used to putting priority on our careers, working 9 to 5, the same sort of weekly schedules and doing the grind. But, we kind of have to find our place in all of that, balancing doing the things that we have to get through life, to pay for things, to get paid, all those things, but also finding a way to balance it with the things that bring us joy, and finding, our sort of routines and paths through it. So I kind of like that spin on it, where it's like, we do have expectations and responsibilities, but at the same time, we can also mold those in a way that fits our life, fits what we find joy in, so that we're not just like slogging through it. And that also can include, if you have responsibilities and expectations, is there time that you can sort of set aside for doing the things that you love, or doing things just for the sake of doing them and not having to monetize everything, or make everything, or having that expectation, like if you're going to spend time on this, then you have to make money at it, which is not true in all cases. You can do the thing just because that's the time you want to spend on it, whether or not you get paid for it or can monetize it. I don't think that's the point of all the time that we spend on things, right? And I certainly don't think it's a waste of time to do art just for the sake of doing art. You don't have to do art to sell it or to get paid for it to be considered art, or for it to be considered, a creative piece, or worth it of your time. So it's kind of nice to remind yourself of that and to keep that in mind when you do want to play with tools that you got, but sometimes we feel, instead of that, I should be doing something else. And it's kind of reframing that to be like, but I should have time to just have fun. I should have time to just do the art. And then that's what you did, and that's what you accomplished, and feel fulfilled by doing that as well. Hi, bye, Apple Tater. How's it going? Good morning. It takes some practice for sure. I'm not great with it. I'm sure, right? Like the way that you hold things, and the angle that you need for it to, for you to be able to get the ideal line. I think that does take a little bit of playing around with it for sure. Preach. Excellent reminders as always. Yeah, that's exactly it. A lot of practice, or not a lot of practice, but a little bit of practice, just to, some of the tools that we get, you can't just get out of the box and then use it as is without trying to figure out, like, how should I hold this and how should I sort of angle things. That's the fun of it too, though, I think, is like trying to figure all that out. It's like the first time we tried a fountain pen. I'm like, am I holding this right? Is the nib supposed to face a certain angle? And a lot of it is kind of like just feeling it out and seeing what comes out. Because your pen will tell you, will give you feedback if you're holding it correctly or not, right? I first saw Charles from Atlas Stationers use the pile of apparel to write a card for me. Oh, he talked you into getting one. That is awesome. Yeah. Well, a lot of times that's how it starts, when you see someone using it. But don't forget, definitely practice it. Especially if it was like a demonstration, or you're like, oh, this is how someone's using it. Definitely try it out. It's a great way of starting. All right, so on to the next day. Hopefully I can get a few done this week, but we'll see. Not with Olympics and all the other things that are happening. Yeah, you need to practice. I'll ask you next time if you've practiced with it. Just to remind you. So yeah, I love this color. I love this color combination, especially because the fountain pen ink with the brown goes really well with this color palette. So it's still nice, a little, maybe not so much spring, but it's kind of nice to have the variation in colors. So I think the next one might have to be sort of a blue or purple palette, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the next one is. Sometimes I do it randomly. I just pick, I just go in my reference book and I pick out a random page and I try and draw that flower, which is a nice way of doing it because it's a challenge. So, you know, you're put in a spot where you have to draw what you see, without being able to choose what it is that you're drawing, which is kind of fun. Also a little nerve-wracking sometimes, but Old Snuffkin, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome in. But also, yeah, it's kind of nice to go through and pick out something that you're drawn to. So, you know, there's two ways to go about drawing from reference. One, just by randomly drawing something, or being intentional and just choosing something that you're drawn to for whatever reason and trying to capture what it is that you really enjoy about what you're looking at. So, yeah, either way is fine, and I think both ways are kind of fun. So, howdy from Japan! Awesome! Love it. The last time I was in Japan was in 2016, so it's time to go back. But But yes, welcome in. I'm just kind of finishing up, but I did a little bit of kind of memory keeping or planning in my Hemlock and Oak planner. And now I just did a little bit of drawing and journaling in the daily pages. They're undated, so that's why I'm kind of using them in different ways instead of, you know, planning per day or writing down what happened during the day and reflecting on that. I have other journals for that and other planners for that. And so this undated planner I'm kind of using for daily art practice. I say daily, but it's like daily-ish, regular, weekly maybe. That's probably more accurate, but weekly art practice, just when I have time. I take out this book and I do a little bit of drawing from reference photos. And so today's, I kind of had fun with the butterfly ranunculus, which is really, really pretty. And this very nice yellow, orangey color palette, that one. So that is very nice. So just capturing that onto paper, adding some color using dual brush pens. So these are Tombow markers, but doing it in a way that gives it more of a watercolor effect. So transferring color with the Colorless blender, blending some of the colors, mixing them a little bit, and getting sort of the soft effect, which is really nice, especially in a planner or journal that, you know, this specific one handles light water pretty well, I find, especially when I did my testing of the paper. I tried different tools, all kinds of brush pens, markers, pens, and then I tried a little bit of fountain pen ink as well. And then I actually did a fountain pen ink painting on one of my streams, and found that the paper was really nice in terms of being able to withstand, you know, just throwing ink at it. But at the same time, like, I do like the crinkle and the, you know, the wrinkles in the paper from water. At the same time, I didn't really want that throughout the book. And so that's why I'm using these markers instead of inks or paints, to sort of capture that same sort of effect that you can get from watercolor paints. And it's just a little bit easier on the paper, I think. So you don't get so much of the wrinkling or the warping of the paper as you would if you were painting throughout it. But honestly, I think I could do that. We'll see. I know I'm not going to use all of these pages. These are all the daily pages. It's like it's a textbook. I know I'm not going to use all of the pages. I've missed quite a few days. So I think, you know, I'll be left with a bunch of unused pages that I can use to paint, or who knows? We'll see. We'll see it when we get there. But yeah. So that was super fun. Let's see. Yeah, so next week I probably won't be streaming on the Monday because of the holiday here, but I will be on Wednesday most likely. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and you do want to know when I stream, I'm from Corolla, and I'll post Instagram stories to just remind you, you know, to join or to tune in if you can, or to watch a replay after. Just kind of chill for a little bit, right? Take a little moment, do some art if you can, or journal, or you know, just have me on in the background and take a breather. Yeah, flowers, right? But yeah, so this Wednesday I'll be streaming, same time, same place, 9 a.m. Pacific. And I think I'm going to do some more painting with fountain pen inks. We will see. or some ink swatching. So I just kind of have to plan that out. But I'll see you then, and we'll talk more about stationery and all kinds of creative artsy things, right? Especially if you enjoy that and stationery is your hobby, then come back and we'll talk about all of that stuff. But aside from that, that's kind of it for me. Just wanted to kind of do this, and it helps when I stream, because then, you know, I don't give myself an excuse not to do it. So thanks for hanging out, friends, and for chatting and for being here, or if you're watching the replay. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your day. I hope your week goes well. And yeah, hop into my Wednesday stream if you can. If you want another little break in the middle of the week, and we can do some creative things together. So yeah, I'm Corolla, and you can find me on most socials as From Corolla, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye, friends. Have a good one.